Hello everyone, my name is Abby Bliss White and welcome to my channel. Today we are going to do June favorites, better late than never, and I have a bunch of fun goodies to show you. I was traveling for 2 weeks out of the month of June, so clearly some of my favorites are going to be from my trip to Europe, but I have got some favorite makeup, skincare, travel outfit, as well as some perfume finds that I have been reaching for this past month. So if you are interested in seeing my June favorites, then let's go ahead and get started. Okay, you guys, I am so excited to share my favorites with you. So basically, the big highlight of June was getting to go on our family trip, and that was to Europe. And I went to Paris with my daughter, and my husband and son went to Scotland, and they played all of the great old golf courses. So this was a trip of a lifetime that we had been planning for quite some time that got postponed due to COVID. So I think it might have made this trip even more special because we finally got to get together to celebrate our kids' graduations from high school and from college, and just to really have a fantastic family trip. So we all met up in London after we went on our respective trips with our kids, and my son's girlfriend was able to come and join us as well for the portion of the trip in London. So that was also very special to get to know her a little bit better. And as we are getting older and our kids are getting their own lives, it is hard to kind of bring everybody together. My son is working now, my daughter's in college, and so I feel like this is going to be something special. I may not always get to go to Europe, but definitely want to try to keep the tradition of having some sort of family trip each year to bring everybody together. So kind of seeing where things are going to be going in the future, but I have to say, best trip ever. Love Paris, love London, can't wait to go back. And I also did some shopping while I was there and have a few goodies to share with you. So I think I will start with makeup. And one of the things that I picked up at Harrods was this beautiful cushion foundation from Dior. Number one, the packaging is just absolutely adorable. This foundation includes the Forever Glow Foundation. This is an SPF of 50, and I have it in the shade 2 in, and you guys, I just love this. So this is definitely going to give the kind of finish that I love. Nice slight glow. It's going to make your skin look healthy, but this is also great to travel with. And yep, I absolutely love the compact that it comes in as well. Now I picked this up at Harrods. Absolutely love it, love the finish, and think it is a fantastic foundation. Now another foundation that I fell in love with, and this was a recommendation from many of you, but I was able to pick up, this is the Dolce & Gabbana. This is the Glorious Skin, and it is the Perfect Luminous Creamy Foundation. And you guys, this really is good. So many of you had told me to pick this up, and I was having a hard time picking a shade online, but when I was at Harrods in London, I stopped by the boutique there, and I had a fabulous time. And I had a fabulous time hanging out with Fatima, who was helping me there. And she matched me to the number 210 Creme. And it is just a very kind of moisturizing, hydrating, plumping, gives your skin this really nice kind of dewy glow, and it also feels very nourishing on the skin. So this one does remind me a bit of the Chanel Sublimage foundation, the one in the jar, but this one's going to have a bit more of a glowy finish. It looks like skin. So the coverage, I would say, is light. You could probably build it up to a medium, but I think the whole point of this is to be more of a treatment foundation to make your skin look healthy, but not to mask it. So I have really been enjoying this. So many of you had told me to pick this up at some point, so that was on my list to pick up at Harrods, and I'm so glad I did. I've really been enjoying it. And I also have a whole face of Dolce & Gabbana makeup coming up. This brand is not readily available in the US, but it is at Harrods, and there was some really nice products that I have fallen in love with from the brand, and this is one of them. So as far as travel makeup, I have to be honest, I have totally fallen back in love with the Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Hollywood Flawless Filter, and I have used this off and on throughout the years. I always did like it originally, but my daughter's friend was having a birthday, and that is what she wanted for her birthday, was the Flawless Filter, because I guess this is all over TikTok. These are young people. And I ended up pulling mine out because when she came over to our house, she looked so pretty with the Hollywood Flawless Filter on. And I was like, I'm going to start using this again as well. So when I was in Europe for quick and easy makeup on the day-to-day, I was using the Hollywood Flawless Filter, and I was using that as my base, and it's just going to give you this really nice kind of glowy finish. It does sort of blur on the skin. It just really does make your skin look really beautiful. And then I would just use concealer where I needed it. So again, real quick and easy makeup. And the two concealers that I just have completely fallen in love with are the DIOR Backstage. And again, I have this in 2N. And as I said the other day, this was one that I was going to pass on. I wasn't really sure if I liked it that much. And I'm glad I picked this up because it really is such a fantastic concealer. And I love the little applicator here. It's like just a little mini brush, and you can just add just a little bit. You do not need to use a lot. The consistency of this is very thin, so I don't find it to sink into my wrinkles. I mean, any concealer can sink into your wrinkles, but I'm just saying it has sort of a little bit of stretch in it, so it kind of glides on with the eye, and it's very forgiving on mature skin. I would say this one is not like super high coverage. I just think it's a little bit goes a long way, and it looks really great on the skin. So the combination we were using was this as a base, and then just sort of using a little bit of concealer around where we needed it, using this, and then if I needed more coverage, I ended up pulling out my NARS Creamy Concealer, and that one definitely has more coverage to it, but it also makes your skin look so pretty. So I can't wait to show you that combination, because that was basically my go-to. Is I would literally take my Hollywood Flawless Filter. Again, it's got a very big little doe foot here. I'd put some underneath my eyes, a little stripe down the face, across the cheeks, so just pretty much kind of using it like a foundation. And then I would buff that into the skin, and then I go in with either one of these concealers. If I felt like I needed more coverage, I went in with the NARS Creamy Concealer, which is an iconic concealer that I have loved for many years, but had not really brought it out in a while. And I ended up kind of using that as a bit of my base where I needed it, and that combination just looks really pretty. Or I would use my DIOR Backstage, again same concept, and it just really worked great. So this was actually my go-to base products when I was traveling. I can't wait to show you this in person because I think it's really a great summer combo as well, because it's not going to look like you are wearing makeup, but your skin is going to look very healthy, very glowy, and I just cannot get enough of that combination. So I have re-fallen in love with the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. I have this in the shade 2 and 3. My daughter has stolen number 2, so I've been using it in number 3, and I think that's for light to medium skin. So whichever color is going to work with your skin tone. They offer several different shades, but can't seem to get enough of this lately, and every time I wear it, I get a little compliment on my skin. This is the secret right here. Now, before I left for Europe, the new Chanel summer products had just launched, and I had picked up the Le Beige Bronzing Cream in medium, and I'm completely in love with this shade. I've already been a fan of the original, but now that I have been using the medium shade, I love this like 10 times more. So I feel like the medium is just perfect. It still has a nice little warm undertone, but it is definitely a little less orange. I wouldn't say that the original showed up orange on my skin, but this one just leans just a tad bit more neutral, which I love. And this is just one of these products that I like to add to the face to give it a little bit of warmth, a little bit of depth, and then if I really want to bronze it up, I will put a bronzer on top. But for everyday easy makeup, if I'm not going for the golden goddess look, I just want to add a little bit of warmth to my face, I will use this, and I absolutely love this product and love the new shade in medium. And I picked up the oversized bronzer in medium along with the large Kabuki brush, and these are again 2 winners that I really like. So I'm actually wearing both the cream bronzer as well as this bronzer in medium on my skin today, and I just love it for the summer months, you guys, because I'm not somebody who tans, and this is going to give me a little bit of a fake tan. I really love the oversized Kabuki brush because if I'm wearing something sleeveless, I can definitely use this to kind of put some on my shoulders, my décolleté, to make sure that everything is kind of matching up. And I really like the oversized nature of this bronzer. You're going to get a lot of product, and I do like the shade of this bronzer as well. Again, this one is going to be a bit warm toned, but it is neutral, so I feel like it is a really pretty color on my light to medium skin. I was debating as to whether to get light or medium. I'm really glad I got the medium, and this is another winner that I really like from Chanel. And then one product that's been a bit of a miss for me, and just wanted to see what you guys think, that is the Le Beige. This is the Water Fresh Complexion Touch, and I am a huge fan of the Le Beige Water Fresh Tint Original. This is like holy grail status for me. I feel like this makes my skin look very angelic, like love this. This is probably my 4th bottle of the Water Fresh tint. That is how much I love it, and you guys know I have a lot of foundations, so for me to repurchase and repurchase means I really love it. But I am not sure if it is the shade that I'm not loving on this one, or if it's just that it almost has too much pigment in it. I have not been completely in love with this, and I ended up picking it up in shade BD21. Let me just show you this one right here, just like that. And that we went ahead and went with that shade because we felt like the B20 was pulling a bit gray on me, and then the B30 was pulling a bit more, and then the B30 was pulling a bit more orange, and so we ended up going with the BD21, which is going to have a little bit more golden undertone in here, but honestly I think it works pretty well. But for some reason I just have not been completely in love with this. I am going to play with this a bit more. Let me know if you have any tips or tricks with using this. Let me know if you just are in love with it. It could be user error on my part, but this would be the one product that was a bit of a miss for me, but it could also be that I love the Le Beige Water Fresh tint so much that this just doesn't compare for myself. So those are my thoughts so far on the Water Fresh Complexion Touch. And again, I ended up picking it up in the shade BD21. Now, I did end up stopping at the SUQQU counter when I was in Europe, and I picked up the most gorgeous blush that I am in love with. And this is the limited edition 2022 blush. And these are so pretty. So even though this looks a little bit like wow in the pan, it comes off in this really pretty pop of color here. And it's got a little bit of like highlighter in it as well. So on your skin, it just looks so pretty, and it gives you just a nice little flush of color. So I have been loving this, especially for summer, kind of going with minimal base products, a little pop of color on the cheeks to look a little bit more fresh and young. And I do feel like blush is one of those that can completely liven up your complexion, especially if you haven't had a lot of sleep. Putting a little pop of color on your cheeks really can just liven up your skin, and this is such a beautiful blush for exactly that. So love, love, love this blush from SUQQU. And I picked up one of the melting blush powders that all of you guys have been talking about, and this again is limited edition for summer. And as I mentioned in my other video, I have been loving wearing this on my cheeks, but also as eyeshadow. Once I picked this up, I would kind of put bronzer in my crease, use this on my lids because it's got a little bit of that shimmer in it, and a little bit eyeliner, mascara, and I was good to go. So just wanted to mention this one because not only is it a beautiful bronzing highlighter blush, I think it's gorgeous on the eyes. So really multi-purpose product, and it does have this really pretty formula that melts onto the skin. It meshes really well on the skin, and it is going to make your eyes and your skin pop a bit because of that formula. So really enjoying this SUQQU. This is limited edition. I did pick this up at Selfridges. They had a wonderful counter there, and the sales assistants were so sweet and nice. Had a little bit of fun at the SUQQU counter. Now, speaking of one and done eyeshadows, many of you know I'm already a fan of the Chantecaille Mermaid eyeshadows, but one of them that I hadn't tried yet was Olivia. And you guys, I am obsessed with this shadow. So I was already a fan of the SYLVIE, which is more of a matte brown shade, perfect one and done. Like SYLVIE is the perfect crease color, one and done eyeshadow. Love, love, love. But I picked up Olivia, and this one is going to be a little bit cooler. It's going to be that nice gray undertone. It's going to be a little bit cooler, you guys, and it looks so gorgeous on the eyes. Now again, the formula of these is just perfection. Now as far as one and done pot eyeshadows go, I think that honestly the Mermaids might be my favorite. I have some from Chanel, but they tend to dry out a bit. I do like the colors, but the texture and the consistency and the longevity of these Mermaids, I would say, are the best. And I always like to travel with my SYLVIE as well as Copper in the Mermaid eyeshadows, because that's just your easy one and done eyeshadows. I'm so glad that I picked up Olivia because look how pretty this color is. And again, it's going to lean a little bit more cool on the gray tones, and I find that it's really pretty to wear that along like with a warmer eyeliner. Kind of a nice little contrast. Or just go ahead and use my favorite eyeliner in Slate, the Lustre Glide eyeliner from Chantecaille. Slate is my ultimate favorite. And on most days, I would pop on a little bit of Olivia along with the Slate eyeliner, my Chantecaille Faux Cils Longest Lash Mascara, and call it a day. That was my go-to eye look. I wanted to give a little shout out to this one in Olivia. I feel like it's not as popular as SYLVIE. Many of you already own SYLVIE, but I have just fallen in love with this one. So definitely pick this one up if you are somebody who enjoys a nice neutral kind of cool tone taupe. Okay, moving on to some skincare. The big highlight in the month of June is that when we were in Paris, my daughter and I got to go get facials together at the Biologique Recherche headquarters, and honestly that was the most amazing experience ever. I had been looking forward to that and it did not disappoint. So as many of you know, I am a longtime fan of the Biologique Recherche skincare line, and I've always dreamed that it would be so fun to go to like a spa with my daughter and get facials, and we did just that. And I have to tell you that the service was absolutely impeccable there. It was just a lovely experience. My daughter and I got to be in the same room. We got the most amazing facials ever. We walked out, our skin was glowing, and we got the added benefit that Biologique Recherche is substantially cheaper in France because that's where it's created. So we ended up picking up our skincare routines. It was so incredibly cool because my daughter's skin was actually quite broken out before we went to get the facial. And it was so incredibly cool to see how my daughter's skin transformed while we were on the trip. So her esthetician had told her that if she follows the routine that her skin would clear up in the next 4 to 5 days, and it did just that. Like literally, you guys, her skin now is in check. It is glowing. Her acne has cleared up, and it was just so nice to see because she was definitely feeling down in the dumps about her skin. She was getting some acne on the cheeks, things that you cannot hide. She doesn't like to wear a lot of makeup, and I was seeing her wearing a bit more because she was trying to mask her skin, and it just really reinforced my love for Biologique Recherche because it really is an effective brand on all sorts of skin types. So she is loving her routine, and she has said she will film with me to kind of share her experience. She has been working a lot since we got back, so we're trying to figure out a time when we can create that video for you guys. But a few highlights for myself was I have always used colostrum as my serum, and she had recommended the Amniotique VG, and again this is going to be about hydrating your skin, sort of like colostrum but maybe a tad lighter for the summer, and I have just really been loving this one. I'm kind of surprised I've never tried it before. I think it's just because I've always gone with colostrum, so I would say colostrum is the ultra hydrator, and then Amniotique would be like one step down. It's still a fantastic hydrator. I like this because it's a bit watery. The new version of colostrum is very milky, and I really do like it, but the previous version was more one of these kind of watery serums, which I personally love because they sink right into my skin. I know that they are working, and I just really like this. So this was a new addition to my routine that they had recommended for my skin type. Love that. And then I did splurge on the Grande cream. Now this is one that they have used on my skin here in the US. When I do get to go get a facial, they always tend to end with Grande. This is a very expensive moisturizer, and I just thought, you know what, you only live once. It is substantially cheaper in France than it is here in the US, and I went ahead and bought it. Now I wish that I could tell you that I didn't like it because this is so expensive, but I actually really have been enjoying this moisturizer. Now, I'm not telling everybody to go out and buy this super expensive moisturizer. There's plenty of other moisturizers out there that are just as good. But for myself, I'm so glad that I picked this up because I kind of had to get it out of my system. I kept on thinking, oh, that's just too much for a cream, but I need to go ahead and try this. And what I will tell you is that this one is loaded with a bunch of actives. It makes my skin feel very hydrated. It actually makes it feel like plushy is what I would say. Is I feel like it makes my skin bouncy. It's hydrating, plumping, but then it has a bunch of actives in it. And what they say is that, you know, if you get Grande, then you're not going to have to use as many other actives of serums and stuff. It's kind of like your one and done anti-ager, and I do really like it. This was my splurge item, but the other cream that was recommended for my dry, mature skin was the Creme ADN Metamorphique, which I have gone through 2 jars of. I love that cream. It is much more reasonable than the Grande, so there's definitely other options. This is just a little personal highlight from the trip because I needed to get it out of my system. I kept on wanting to buy it or try it, and I'm so glad I ended up picking this up in Paris. It always reminds me of the trip, about going to get those wonderful facials, and that is definitely something that I would do again. So if I get the chance to go to Paris again, that is definitely going to be something I'm going to put on my list, is that I'm going to make an appointment to go and get a facial there, and it just was a lovely experience. So highly recommend to anyone to go get a treatment there. Now, speaking of skincare, total BR fan, but I did come home to a bit of PR, and this is a brand that I have been curious about. It's often sold places that actually sell Biologique Recherche, and this is from Autour, and I have been very intrigued by this line. So I have been incorporating a few items in from the skincare line as I am tinkering. I'm going to do a whole video on updated skincare routines. I've got a couple things that have been recommended to me lately from Valmont, as well as using Autour, and I've fallen in love with some of the products here. So number one, the enzyme cleanser is amazing. So if you are familiar with Tatcha's, kind of that soft rice kind of cleanser, or if you've used the MBR enzyme cleanser booster, that is what their enzyme cleanser is like. It is amazing, you guys. Makes my skin just feel like a little baby's butt after I use it. It's just so soft and refined, and so I love that cleanser. I only use it on days that I'm not going to be using my lotion P50, because that's going to be sort of my exfoliation there. But there's many products from this line that I actually really like. I do want to give a little shout out to the Definitive Hyaluronic Activator. This again, hyaluronic acid. It is a gorgeous hydrator, and it just makes my skin feel like it's soaking up all the moisture and really making it kind of plush and bouncy, and exactly what I'm looking for. And then we've got the Definitive Line Serum, and I am glad that I actually had like a Zoom masterclass with Autour, because when you are using this, you use just a teeny bit of it. It feels a bit tacky on the skin, but it is so great for wrinkles. Like, it literally kind of gives you a bit of a mini facelift. Of course, it's temporary, but it does feel like it is kind of filling in those lines. And as I said, it feels a little bit tacky at first. You got to let it sink in for 2 minutes. You only use just a little bit. So even though this is an expensive product, I'm not using, like, I do not use a whole pump of this. I just use a little bit in the areas that I want to kind of eliminate lines. So I've been using it underneath my eyes, kind of right through here, and on my neck. And I have to tell you, I really do think that is an amazing serum. So I wanted to mention those 2 products because I have been adding that into my routine and really enjoying it. And then, as an alternative to the expensive Grande cream that I have been sampling and have been really enjoying, it is the Valmont V Line Filling cream. Now, Valmont products, I have used their entire line in the past. I really enjoy a lot of their products. To me, Valmont is all about hydrating the skin. They do a fantastic job with that. They have some really beautiful products to keep your skin hydrated, fresh, glowy, all of that good stuff. And I have samples of the Valmont V Filling Concentrate along with the V Filling Cream. And I found that the combination of those products, or just one of them, kind of gives me the same plushy feeling as my Grande. Like, it just literally feels like a little bit plushy, a little bit firmer, like my elasticity feels like it is firming up, and it just feels very hydrated. So I'm going to list all those below, and again, you'll get a full skincare video with everything in action so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. I've been really into my skincare regime lately, having a little bit of fun tinkering around and figuring out the products that are just working really well for my skin at the moment.